My big, scary, but very exciting vision in my business is to become a full-time public speaker. And that is something that I am learning to get better at sharing with other people. For a long time, it just felt like this secret little goal that I had. But that is something that I'm working towards in the kind of longer term future. And I thought it might be interesting in this episode to share with you some of the things that I have learned along the way around what I think, or at least hope, makes a good speaker. I feel that one of my biggest strengths is speaking, not just, having a podcast with over 300 episodes is probably a sign of that, but particularly for me, kind of speaking to groups of people, speaking in person, kind of holding space for quite a long amount of time, talking people through a topic. I feel like it's something that I have quite a knack for. Some of that, who knows, may just be a bit of kind of natural skill set. I'm not sure. I was brought up in a church that put me on stage with a microphone at quite a young age, so that probably played a role as well. But I also think it's something I've really learned through action and, just picking up the lessons as I go. So in this episode, for any of you that maybe have a similar goal of maybe not even just being a full-time public speaker, but maybe you just want to do more public speaking in your business, or you just want to get more confident when you're speaking, even if it's just within your own business, with your clients, with your community, I'm going to share with you 5 tips that I've learned along the way that I think make a really good public speaker. These are tips that I have both learned through my own trial and error, noticing what works, what doesn't, what people resonate with. But I've also learned these things through observation. One of my biggest tips, if you want to do more speaking, is go to talks, go to conferences, go to events. You learn so much when you're a listener, when you're an audience member. And a lot of these things are what I've noticed over the years help me to engage in someone that's speaking. And then I've tried them out for myself, seen that they work as well. And now I'm sharing them with you today. If we're not familiar, by the way, my name is Alice Benham. This is episode number 321 of Starting the Conversation. And I'm very excited to share that my big vision of being a public speaker is definitely on track, or at least going in the right direction. If you're tired of wasting hours searching for stockists, events, and press opportunities instead of actually running your business, then the I Do Handmade Hub is for you. From running my own stationery brand, I know just how many hats that you have to wear, and the brilliance of the hub is that it does the legwork for you. Inside, you'll get free UK office stalls and 1,000+ market listings, shops looking for new brands, journalists seeking products to feature, and a supportive community of makers and sellers. Founded by small business expert Becky, who I have personally worked with, the hub is designed to get your product seen with minimal effort. Membership doors have excitingly just opened, so you can head to handmadehub.info. Back to the episode. I will say public speaking and speaking as part of a business model is quite a funny one where it can be quite hard to control. Other parts of my business model are quite within my grasp, in the sense of maybe I want to launch a new product. Okay, I need to design the product, get samples, order them, buy them, put them on sale. Quite easy to make that happen. Or maybe I want to host my own event or to launch something new. All of those things I can kind of control quite well. Whereas having public speaking and being hired as a speaker specifically as kind of a part of a business model or part of a vision, as it is for me, is quite difficult, because yes, you can pitch to be a speaker and put yourself forwards, but it's not something that's ever fully within your control. It's a part of business that has quite a loose connection between your action and the end result. Now, you absolutely can influence getting speaking opportunities, and maybe that's something I could do a whole nother episode on, but it's not as simple as 1, 2, 3, take that action and then it will happen. For me, when I realized this was my vision a couple of years ago, I kind of had to start to think, right, I can't fully control this happening, but what can I do to help make this happen? What can I change about my content, about my pitching, about my networking to help move my work in this direction? And it's definitely getting there. I'm doing more and more speaking every year, and I really love it. I really come alive when I'm able to kind of talk to people, particularly in person, particularly if it's a group. I love everything from 5 people sat in front of me for a conversational workshop to, hundreds or a couple of thousand in a big group. I find excitingly terrifying. And one of the things that I think has helped me most to grow in getting more opportunities as a speaker is being a better speaker. I know that might sound really obvious or really kind of, dim to point out, but the better you are at something, the more likely you are to be offered opportunities in that area. Because yes, people will, go out on a whim and take a bit of a risk, but really when people are looking to get someone in, even if people are looking to get someone on their podcast, I can say from personal experience, I invited guests when I had a lot of guests on my podcast, more so if I had evidence that they were a good speaker. Maybe I had listened to their own podcasts, or I'd seen them at an event, or I'd heard them host a workshop. When you are a good speaker, more people know that, more people are likely to put you forward for things or think of you for opportunities. And so these 5 tips that I'm going to share with you, I think are actually a really strategic thing to be working on if you want more opportunities like this in your business. And I actually think this is broader than just, speaking at an event on a stage. This could be that you want to speak on other people's podcasts, or you want to speak on a panel, or you want to speak for someone else's community. If you're hosting a workshop, you might want to speak by hosting a retreat. Like, all of these tips, I think, come into all of those different settings. So without further ado, let me dive in with my first tip, which is to use your content as a learning ground. The best way to learn what topics do people resonate with, how do you communicate in a way that makes sense, how do you, bring maybe a complicated message into a simple format, is to do it. Practice is the best way to learn. What's that quote of practice makes perfect? I don't think perfect ever exists, but I like the gist of that quote, right? The more action you take, the more you're going to learn. Speaking is much like a muscle, where if you've never used it, it's going to feel weak. It's probably not going to be very effective. But if you keep using it and keep using it and keep flexing that muscle, it's going to get stronger. And I definitely notice in my business, the more that I test and experiment, particularly in my content, the better of a speaker I then am when I bring those topics into a kind of different format, because it's practice, right? It's getting your reps in. It helps you to notice what lands, what doesn't, how you communicate things in a certain way. You can also experiment with your topics and your kind of speaking, angles and tips and tricks in your own offers. If someone invites you to go on their podcast, that's a great experiment. Or maybe you want to make for yourself your own workshop that gives you a chance to test out a topic or try something new. Anytime that I am showing up online or delivering my work to someone or a group even, I am able to learn. I'm noticing how certain topics land. I'm noticing if there's a certain metaphor or way of explaining things that makes most sense to people. I'm noticing where people get stuck or what questions they have, because all of those things is helping me to understand my topics better, helping me to be better at explaining these things and knowing who I'm speaking to. Knowing who I'm speaking to leads me on very nicely to my second tip around being a good speaker, which is knowing the audience. If anyone ever invites me to speak at their event, or even come on their podcast or host a workshop for their community, a question that I will ask, or I'll go and find out the answer to with a bit of research, is who's going to be there? And I don't mean who's going to be there of we've got Sally and Ben and Tim and Susie and it's there. I don't care about the demographic. I want to know about where they're at and the psychographic stuff, right? What are their challenges? What are their goals? What are their pain points? What do they struggle with? Who are they? And therefore, how can I tweak my message and what I'm saying to make sense for them? Where possible, I always try and give examples that are specific to the audience. I can give an example of this actually, where in a few weeks, as I'm recording this, it's probably happened by the time this comes out, I'm speaking at a conference for wedding photographers. Okay, I'm talking about a topic that relates to all kinds of business owners, but I'm going to make that talk so much better by using constant examples about wedding photography businesses. I'm not just going to talk generally about these concepts. I think at that event, I'm talking about goal setting and operations. I'm not just going to talk in general about those things. I'm going to talk about, okay, here's what this would look like in the wedding season, or here's an example of a goal you'd set as a wedding photographer, or here's a story of when I worked with someone in the wedding industry on this. Not only does it help people to feel like you understand them, they're more likely to lean in because they think you've got something to say that's for them, but it also just helps people to connect more. It helps you to make sure that what you're saying is meeting people where they're at, understanding your audience in terms of who they are and what your message needs to be to work for them. That's my second tip for you. My third tip then around being a good speaker in any capacity in your business, and this is across the board actually, workshops, strategy days, anything that you're hired to do, say less. Our brains think that delivering value means delivering everything possible, right? Maybe people ask you to host a workshop on a topic that you know a lot about. Your brain will naturally go into how much can I cram in? How can I tell them everything I know about this topic? How can I give them every single step? Now that comes from a good place, right? We're wanting to help people with everything. We're wanting to fill in all the gaps. But unless you have hours and hours and hours with people, you probably can't do that effectively. The one exception to this rule for me is when I'm hosting a retreat, because at a retreat, I can kind of give them everything over, 3 or 4 days. But that's so rare, right? Often you're given 20 minutes, half an hour, maybe an hour if you're lucky. And you've got to give people something in that time that's going to be helpful for them. What's not helpful for them is giving them too much. Because when you try and do too much, say too much, give people too much, what happens is they feel overwhelmed. And overwhelmed people do not take action. Overwhelmed people do not, benefit from the talk that you delivered. You might feel like you gave them a lot, but actually what you gave them a lot of was overwhelm. Some of the best talks that I have been to were so narrow in their focus. They were talking about one thing. And even within that one thing, it was like one angle, one tip, one, way of looking at it. A good rule of thumb for me, at least, is that if I outline, my slides for a workshop, I could probably do about 3 workshops on all the topics that are in there. And there's an invitation for me to either go, right, I need to lower the detail and I need to make this less detailed if I want to talk about more topics. Or if I want to talk in detail, I can't talk about so many topics. You can't have both, okay? You can either give people every step, but to, 20% depth, or you give people one step to 100% depth. Some scenarios require different things, but in my experience, often the latter is the better, where you try and do less in order to then give people more space to work through something, to understand it, and then ultimately they're going to end up not feeling overwhelmed, but actually feeling like they've grasped something and they can take action. That leads me on really nicely to my 4th tip to be a good speaker, which is to encourage people to implement as you are teaching. It is very tempting when you're being hired to speak, to teach, to talk, to think, okay, I need to be kind of giving them information all of the time, right? I'm here for half an hour. I need to give them half an hour of my knowledge for literally 30 minutes straight, as much as I can. As we've already talked about, overwhelming people doesn't often work in your favor or their favor. So instead, what you can think about doing is creating moments within your talk, whatever capacity that talk is within, a workshop, an event, etc., which helps people to implement. If I'm doing a talk at a conference about goal setting, I will give people prompts in that talk to literally reflect on as I'm there to help them start to set goals. I do that, A, so that people actually embed what it is that I'm teaching and they're not just hearing it, but they're actually kind of taking it in as well. And so that B, what I'm doing actually has a far bigger impact. Nobody wants to leave a talk with a big to-do list. But if you can give people some space as you're speaking to help people implement, no, you will not be able to cover as much, ground and as many topics, but yes, people are going to feel much more engaged. They're going to have an immediate positive impact with what you're teaching, and it's likely going to set them up much better to move forwards after the talk you've delivered. If you don't have the capacity to give people space to implement as you're teaching and talking, offer up examples. Help people to think about what's next. What are you going to take action on because of this talk? It's a good challenge for us, I think, as we're speaking, to think of what can people do to apply this? We're not just creating these TED Talks where we're just making, people learn something new and think differently. Ultimately, a lot of the time as business owners, we're also there to help people do something with that. So what is it that they can do? What is that next step that they can take? That's my 4th tip. And then my 5th and final tip, which is one that I feel like I've heard many other people give, but I always come back to, and I'm reminded how powerful it is, which is to tell stories. Storytelling is such a powerful tool in business. In our marketing and our content, it's a really valuable thing to use. I've used it within this episode, right? I've told you about that wedding event that I'm going to and how I feel about it and what I'm going to be doing, right? That storytelling helped to connect you to what it is that I'm talking about. And you can do the same in your talks. Kirsty Hulse, who is an amazing public speaker, runs an incredible conference called Confidence Live, which I actually had the privilege of speaking at last year, gave me this tip, and she really lives this out in the way that she speaks of telling people information through stories. So whether that's a personal story where you can talk about how that topic applies to you, or maybe you've got a story of when you did this work previously with someone else, or you can relate what you're talking about to a story that maybe you weren't involved in, but something that's happened in the wider world, or an example or a case study. So the more that you tell stories, not only will people's kind of understanding of what you're talking about deepen, but also what you're sharing is going to be more memorable. You know, people don't remember every word that you say. And if you were to ask me some of the best talks I've been to, I don't really know what they said, but I know the stories that they told, and I know how they made me feel. And I know like the feeling that they created through their storytelling and the environment that they created. So those are my 5 tips for you. 5 tips that I think have helped me become a better speaker. 5 things that I have learned over the years, picked up from other people, tested for myself. And 5 things that I think in every area of business, you know, hosting workshops, going on podcasts, creating content, leading your own offers, being on big stages, you know, wherever you are speaking, I think that these 5 tips can really come into play. And they are 5 things that I think are really key to make sure that people don't just hear you, but they really take in what you're saying and they have a really great experience of you as a speaker. I really hope that you've been able to take something from this episode, maybe just one of those tips. You might want to think about, how could I bring that into my next talk? Try not to implement all 5 at once. That's going to feel very overwhelming. But the next time you do some speaking, in whatever capacity it might be, ask yourself, right, could I bring one of those tips in? Could I experiment with maybe just refining or improving my process? So that is it for this episode. But before I go, I just also want to make sure that you know the very exciting news, which is the doors to On It are going to open very, very soon. If you're not familiar, On It is my group program, which helps business owners work on their businesses, not in them. We set goals, manage progress, and basically just make sure that you are regularly moving towards the big vision that you have. We focus on having really actionable goals, and it's a really incredible environment. It genuinely is the most accessible, impactful thing I've ever created. It is the cheapest way that you can get my help, but I genuinely believe is one of the best ways to work with me. Doors only open a couple of times a year. So the link will be in the show notes to join the waitlist, or if you're listening to this once doors are open, to come and join us for the rest of the year. I will walk with you throughout the rest of 2025 and help you to regularly step back, work on your business, do it in the company of incredible like-minded people, and ultimately take your business where you want it to. It's kind of like a PT, but for your business growth. Like, you could do this on your own, but why not come into On It? I'll give you some structure, do it in community, make it easy, and I'm very excited to see who joins. So check that link out in the show notes, get on the wait list if you're not already, and I will be back in your ears with another episode next week. Thanks for listening.